It's the same with every person I've coached. Fear. You're afraid to fail, you're afraid of putting in the work, so you do something else instead. Anything else. So why is this happening, and what are 3 easy solutions you can implement today? Welcome to the Self-Transcendence series. Self-transcendence means to overcome your old self and pursue your goals and fulfill your potential every day. It's a method I developed while exploring the lives and mentality of great men and has allowed me to achieve perfect discipline. This video serves to inspire you and educate you while showing you what self-transcendence looks like. If you want to become a disciplined man starting now, join our free group in which you'll find the Self-Transcendence Challenge, which will teach you how to do this step by step. So as I said, the fundamental reason you actually procrastinate is something called fear. You're afraid of failure, you're afraid of doing the work, and this causes your nervous system to act up, making you want to avoid the work and just do anything else that you could do but actually doesn't help you. You procrastinate fundamentally because of fear, and this is usually true for most people. So when I was doing my YouTube channel, when I was starting it, I procrastinated on starting and making my first videos because I was afraid of what would happen. Fear is the core reason of procrastination, and I need you to know this. So what are 3 tips you can apply that will deal with this fear, that will deal with the procrastination in a way that it doesn't come back? Well, the first method, the first tip is the pause and calm down technique. So when you procrastinate, what you do is you panic. You have to do your work. You have to work on your business. I'm gonna give an example with, let's say you have an SMMA agency and you have to do some cold calling. You fear doing the cold calls, and so you panic. In this moment, you go to YouTube and you start watching videos instead. And maybe that's what you're doing right now. You're watching videos instead of doing the work. Well, instead of doing stuff in the moment you panic, instead of trying to work in the moment you panic, listen, when you try to take action, when you're feeling a strong negative emotion, you're gonna procrastinate, you're gonna take the wrong action. So instead what you can do is you can pause and calm down. Literally pause and calm down. So instead of doing something, just do nothing. And I know this seems counterintuitive because I'm talking about stopping procrastination and I'm telling you to do nothing, but believe me, this works. You feel a strong urge to procrastinate, you feel a negative emotion, you don't want to do your work, pause and calm down. Because when you pause and calm down, that's how you prevent doing something stupid that will waste the rest of your day. And when you pause and you breathe, calm down, and then you can use self-talk. So you can speak to yourself until you convince yourself to calm down and just do the work. You need to treat yourself as a different person, because in reality, you are a different person. You're 2 people. You are your conscious part, which is what you call yourself, but there's also this part of you which doesn't listen to you sometimes, your emotions. This is what causes you to procrastinate, this part. So you need to use self-talk to essentially convince this part to do the work. You need to speak to it like a child. You need to find a way to motivate it. So you're not motivated to do your work right now. You want to procrastinate. Okay, speak to yourself. Why is this happening? How can you convince yourself? Just really convince yourself to do the work. You need to use self-talk. And when you feel those negative emotions, that fear, but you actually pause, calm down and speak to yourself, you'll see that in 5, 10, maybe sometimes 20 minutes, but that emotion will disappear and getting back to work will be much, much easier. The second step, the second thing you can do is to basically overcome your fears by accepting them. Yep, procrastination happens because you're afraid, so overcoming your fears stops procrastination. It's as simple as that. So usually the fear that causes you to procrastinate is the same. It's the fear of failure. You're afraid that you're gonna put in the work, but you're not gonna succeed. You're afraid that you're gonna put in the work, but something terrible will happen, something that you hate. You have an SMMA agency and you're afraid of putting in the cold calls because you're afraid that some client is gonna be an asshole. Some guy on the phone is gonna be an asshole. He's gonna swear at you. He's gonna hang up. You're afraid that you're gonna make 100 calls or 1,000 calls and you're not gonna make a sale. You're terrified of this. Well, in this situation, you need to do something called negative visualization. So imagine your worst fears coming to fruition in your real life. Imagine they actually happen. Your worst fears, what you don't want to happen, imagine it happens. Then imagine how you survive and you deal with it and you continue and you keep going. Imagine dealing with the worst fears in your life. And this is how you can accept them. You can accept your worst fears by just imagining them in your head, accepting that they can happen, and dealing with them. Dealing with them in your head. So in the SMMA example I gave, imagine you make a cold call and some guy on the phone is a complete asshole. He tells you to F off and that you're terrible and that why are all these marketers calling you and that your call was terrible, and he hangs up the phone and the worst thing has happened. You've had the most unpleasant call in the world. So what? Whatever. Life goes on. And then imagine that you do cold calling and your second worst fear happens. You make 1,000 calls, but you don't get a single sale. So what? Whatever. You're still in a better position in life simply because, well, now at least you know what not to do. And you can just keep calling until you do make a sale. At least now you have the pride that you've actually put in the work. What I'm trying to tell you is that whatever your worst fears are associated with work, you're gonna keep procrastinating if you have these fears. So why don't you just accept the fears? Imagine the fears happening and accept that they can happen and whatever. Life goes on. You know, some of my worst fears have happened in life. Life goes on. There's no problem. Grow a thick skin, okay? And the final tip is to remove your little cushions. So whatever ways you use to procrastinate, in the example I gave you was watching YouTube videos, maybe you're doing it right now, remove that. Remove that. Block the way you procrastinate. Whatever that way is, and usually there is multiple ways, but block it, remove it, make it hard to access so that way in that moment in which you want to procrastinate, you don't actually have access to it anyway. So now you actually have to take the tips I gave you and you actually have to deal with it. Because when you start removing your little cushions, you start making progress. Because these little cushions, these little ways you procrastinate and these little bad habits, they might make you feel good at the moment, but in reality, they don't help you. They don't help you not only because they waste your time, but because they don't help you deal with your negative emotions. The only way to deal with your negative emotions, and I promise you, you only have to do this a few times. Like once you accept your fears, a few times you think about your fears and you actually accept them in life, that they can happen. And once you pause and calm down and you use self-talk to motivate yourself, I promise you, it becomes not that hard. You only have to do it a few times, but you do have to remove the cushions. You do have to actually deal with it. So whatever method you use to procrastinate, remove it. Remove that method so it's not available. And if you take these 3 steps, every time if you want to procrastinate, you use self-talk, you pause, you calm down and you talk to yourself, you deal with your negative emotions, because you can't work or do anything with negative emotions, really. You have to actually deal with them. And then you use the second step, which is you overcome your long-term fears, your worst nightmares, you just overcome them. And then the final step, you remove all the little bad habits, the little cushions, you remove them, you make them not an option anymore. If you do these 3 things, I promise you, you'll probably stop procrastinating. Oh shit, we're actually back. So did I self-transcend today for the first time after 5 days? Well, let me first read out a few comments. AlenX24 says, grateful to have this channel, bro. I'm grateful to have every single viewer I have. Thank you for watching. David says, bro, just upload one short a day. My brother does shorts. He hit 1 million views on one of them. Clip up your videos and make shorts. Yes, I am planning to upload shorts, even more than one a day, because honestly, you know, I can only do so many YouTube videos, long form, but I will upload shorts because I can see the potential. So yeah, that's the next direction. Etienne Wilson says, nice video. I definitely agree that it's super important to have social connections while you're working hard. I recently moved to a smallish town in the winter, and so I have only a couple friends locally, but it's a huge help. Will be fun to move again though. Yeah, if you try to work without any sort of social life, what happens is that you don't de-stress, the stress accumulates, you start burning out, nothing happens with your work, ironically. So definitely never cut out social life. I mean, why do you work anyway, you know? So here is the system. Yesterday was the last sort of rest day, as you can see, Monday. But now we're back. I did sleep well. I had a decently productive work session. I did this, of course, I exercised. I had a decently productive second work session. I did a lot of stuff, figured out a lot of stuff. I'm gonna do this, no problem. This is gonna remain like this for now. And it's gonna be 5 out of 5 today. Oops, what am I doing? 5 out of 5. 0 bad habits. I did not waste any time today. And of course, self-transcendence has been achieved. So once again, I've had a perfect day of discipline. Well, not once again, because I was actually gone for the past 5 days, but we're back on track. We're back to pursuing our goals. If you want to become the type of man who pursues his goals every single day, builds the consistency to just be disciplined and just do the work every single day. If you want to learn how to do the work, click on the link you're seeing on the screen right now. Thank you for watching this video. Bye.